This movie has the honor of being the first movie I watched after Karate Christmas Miracle. What's gonna top the craziest movie that I've seen this year? Well, Michael Bay movie, maybe. Who knows? So watch the Karate Christmas Miracle episode of The Snob that just got put up yesterday. That's the craziest shit I've watched for the Snob this year. I love that not only did you not have any interest in this film, Six Underground, but even the prospect of you just sitting here and listening to me talking about it seemed to just take the life out of you.
Well, I just got off work. I'll just make that clear.
Right, yeah.
The only reason you asked me if I wanted to watch this last weekend?
Yeah,
or the weekend before?
It was last weekend.
And when you told me what it was about, who made it, and who's in it, and not that I hate Ryan Reynolds, but sometimes he can be a little too cheeky for me.
Sure.
But I know that's
I love Ryan Reynolds.
I'm a minority there, I know, totally. I have that opinion. But I was like, on my weekend off,
you don't want to see this movie?
I don't want to see a long action movie that has a bad score.
Sure.
On Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, I love that.
So we watched Funny Farm instead.
That is a classic. We watched an 80s Ryan Reynolds movie, Funny Farm. I love that the other day I said, well, I got to... I should go ahead and review this movie being what it is, and I was just planning on just watching it on my own, and we talk about it in the car, and you had said something like, well, I guess maybe I'll watch it with you or something, and I go, honey, don't worry about it. I go, I know what kind of movie this is going to be. If you didn't want to watch this movie on a weekend, you are certainly not going to watch this movie getting home from work. And having seen this movie, watching it today.
Well, I thought maybe before work or something. But I don't really, sometimes I don't like just listening to what you saw because I don't feel like I'm giving good feedback. So I just kind of like...
No, all you got to do is just give a couple of these. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really that's some great video work.
It's like sometimes it is, especially if I'm describing madness to somebody, like when I was describing the Trump prophecy to Sarah and just watching her soul slowly drain away over the course of it. Actually, same thing with you when I was describing Unplanned. A series of videos of me going, no, I swear this movie exists. Yeah, watching this when you get up in the morning, I might as well just have 10 energy shots in a row. 5-hour energy shots while waking up. I felt I had to watch this movie because curiosity would get the better of me on this, because I just had to know what this $150 million budgeted movie for Netflix starring one of the biggest actors today, written by the guys who wrote Deadpool, both Deadpool. Oh,
it was?
Yeah, both Deadpool movies, I think, and directed by Michael Bay. I had to see what that was like. Yeah, especially because with all those things I just said, the budget, who made it, who wrote it, who's in it, I didn't hear about this movie until like a week and a half ago, because I never got a trailer for this. The first I'd heard of this movie was... a few weeks ago, I think I was randomly seeing what was playing in the city. Oh, I know what it was. I was looking, because I know Uncut Gems got a limited release, so I was looking to see if it was playing in the city. I saw Six Underground on there and didn't really think anything of it. Didn't realize until like right before I asked you about it last weekend that it was a Michael Bay film, which piqued my curiosity up even more, because having sat through this movie is just Netflix giving $150 million to Michael Bay to create carnage on screen.
Was it intended to be in theaters and it just didn't?
Oh, it was I think they're wanting this to be a franchise, like a Netflix action movie franchise.
So it's
I don't know how well it's doing.
So it's like a 2-hour-long pilot, kind of?
I'll get to that in a second. That might answer your question. But, so, this is R-rated Michael Bay.
Which is kind of cool, I guess.
I honestly, like, I know Michael Bay gets a lot of hate. I honestly kind of love Michael Bay. Bad movies aside, some of them that he's got some greatness to him. There are...
You said Pain and Gain was good, right?
Pain and Gain. If I do a list of, like, the best movies of the decade, Pain and Gain is on there. I legit love Pain and Gain. I think it's a great film. I love The Rock. I think it's one of the best action movies of the 90s. Both Bad Boys movies I love.
It's like 2000s Michael Bay is not very good.
No, I mean, it depends. The Island I liked a lot.
I actually did like The Island. Yeah.
The Island I really, really liked. It's a crapshoot. Like, when you get Michael Bay being really unapologetic, because he's always kind of apologetic, but when you got him going for broke on that R rating, the guy's just, you can tell he's giddy behind the camera. He just likes blowing shit up and blowing things up.
He's like a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah, sometimes for better or worse. Like, I couldn't do the Transformers movies. That was a little too much of a 12-year-old boy for my taste.
I remember when that came out and it was huge.
Yeah, when you get into, like, the Bad Boys territory, The Rock, Pain and Gain, stuff like that.
It's a little more gritty.
I love
them.
them. Well, it's just...
Well, not gritty, but like just kind of like, I don't give a shit, I'm gonna go as...
Yeah, oh, he does it in this.
Kind of like Mel Gibson-y.
He is,
but not as, you know...
Not as thought-provoking.
Yeah, like the frat boy of Mel Gibson.
Sure, that's a good way of putting it, kind of. Or the frat boy of Tony Scott, kind of. But he's good at doing that. He is good. It's an art form. When he blows shit up, when he blows people up, when he comes up with new ways to dismember a corpse... He treats it like an art form. He puts time and effort into making it look good. And in this, yeah, there are slow motion scenes of just a rocket launcher going across a guy's face and breaking his nose. There's people being chucked off of buildings left and right, just parkour randomly throughout the movie. There's a guy smoking a cigar. The bullet in slow motion goes right through the cigar and in the back of his head.
That was in this movie?
That's in this movie. That's in Six Underground. It's
over the top
the action, and that's a lot of the action in this. Mass chaos.
I like over the top, like something like Face Off or like something like what's another one I'm thinking of? There's one I'm thinking of, but I can't remember right now.
We're talking recent stuff like Hardcore Henry's up there, The Raid.
I mean, I do like some Mel Gibson movies. Those are pretty crazy.
Sure.
I get hate for that, but
the Bad Boys, or the second Bad Boys movie, has a guy being stuffed into a Pringles can. There's a part. Is it raining upstairs?
No,
oh, okay, it's a shopping cart back there.
Yeah.
Oh, we're talking about an action movie. The bus will drive through and hit the shopping cart.
I like over the top action, like, because I'm not saying it's like it's high art. It's just like...
Oh, but Michael Bay makes it an art form.
It's just like, whatever.
In the second Bad Boys movie, it's not enough that a bad guy gets shot 100 times. It's also that afterwards he falls on a landmine.
I'm thinking of Machete. That's what I was thinking.
Oh, sure. Machete, yeah. From the opening in this, you are thrust into this 20-minute chase scene.
You're making me kind of be interested in seeing it. Why did you texted me while I was at work saying like you would hate this movie. So you're saying like it's an overtop action movie.
It is.
And it's an R.
Yeah, it is.
So what's wrong?
It's exhausting.
Why?
It is because...
But it kind of cut you off. So.
Okay, so what you need to know about the plot of this is Ryan Reynolds is a billionaire who basically assembles this team of 6 people to fake their own deaths so that they can kind of work as vigilantes, taking out
like a
taking out like dictators and things, working under the grid and just taking out random people in other countries. So it's kind of like, it's sort of like Michael Bay wanting to do his own A-Team if he only ever watched the opening credits of the A-Team. Because this movie is, after 20 minutes, I needed a nap after this movie. Because all the stuff I'm talking about, that 20-minute car chase scene, all of this shit blowing up left and right, the parkour, the throwing people off of buildings, explosions, car chases, just cars driving through crowds of people. And it'll be the heroes doing this too, just running over people.
That's, saved us.
Kinda, yeah. That's all it is. And
there's no break.
It's not a lot, and there's not enough. Let me put it to you like this: you've never seen The Rock, have you?
I have only seen. I've seen very limited amounts of Michael Bay. Most of them were the bad ones. The Island is the one I thought was good. But.
So this movie being thrust into this 20-minute action sequence where you don't really know anybody yet. You don't know what the stakes are necessarily. What really is going on, to be perfectly honest. Sort of. It jumps around a lot in time. And it would be like, kind of, in the first, 40 minutes of this movie. Ugh. So, it would be like if The Rock opened up with that 20-minute car chase in San Francisco that happens maybe 40 minutes into that movie. If you didn't know anything about Stanley Goodspeed or Sean Connery or the stakes or Ed Harris or what's going on over on Alcatraz, if you didn't know any of that and it just jumped into that chase in San Francisco and was maybe frequently going 2 days earlier.
Oh, I hate that.
I did for 40 minutes. I didn't know what was going on in this movie. It was jumping back and forth 2 days prior, 2 days later, 17 hours later. I didn't know what was going on.
I hate that. I didn't know if bad storytelling to me.
They were talking about how they had died, but I'm like, did they fake their own deaths, or is this like an R.I.P.D. situation here? Mm-hmm. But no, they faked their own deaths. And it's insane, because 40 minutes in, the narration comes in and goes, now that you're all caught up. I'm like, bullshit! I don't know what the hell is going on in here. And then he says, now that you're all caught up, and it says the present. Then 2 minutes later, it goes 2 days earlier. Like, oh my god! Now, after 45 minutes, it stops doing that, and kind of becomes about them trying to, overthrow this dictatorship. So after that, I was kind of, piecing it together a little bit, here and there. But it's one of those movies where it's light in terms of everything.
Story and character.
Yeah, because you have... Maybe if it was, focused on just a couple of people, The Rock, the Bad Boys movies or something like that, maybe, but this is a movie that's already thin and trying to balance 6 main characters. And so you have Ryan Reynolds being kind of Ryan Reynolds-ish in it. You have Marie Laurent, who's pretty cool in it, and honestly would have been a better lead in Anna than the actress in that movie. But then you have... It's 6 characters, and you don't know much about, any of them.
Seems like it's a setup for, a series.
Yeah, man. It's... The whole thing is watching a 2-hour trailer of an action show that would be on the Fox network. Mm-hmm. It's
maybe not Fox if it's that bloody.
But I mean, how it looks and how... Just kind of how it's shot, mm-hmm. and even some of the more exploitation-y aspects of it. This is the kind of thing where if this was a long-running series, in 4 years there'd be something called 6 Underground L.A. That's the kind of thing that this is. So, randomly there will be a romance between a couple of characters, one guy, the only thing about one guy is he just speaks in movie quotes, and it's really annoying because some of it's wildly out of context, and it's really reaching in some aspects.
That's been done before. Hasn't that been done before in a show or a movie?
Yeah, I mean,
off
the top of my head, I mean, I can't really...
but I'm pretty sure that's been done before. It's I'm just gonna speak in movie quotes.
Wasn't that
in Justice League? Was that in Justice League, or am I thinking of something else?
Did the Flash do that in Justice League?
I don't know. Maybe, or maybe Big Bang Theory. I don't know. I see so much shit with you. I'm character tropes that have really bad ones.
It's all really juvenile because a lot of the humor in this movie is that not quite to the extent of Transformers. This is okay, if Transformers was written by a 12-year-old, this is like that same person, but they're now like 23 and just kind of drunk.
Peaked in high school.
Yeah, and just kind of drunk. So it's so, for instance, you have the same kind of like dumb humor in a lot of his that you would see in Transformers, where the car almost drives some nuns off the road, and then the nuns look at the camera and go fuck you, and one of the henchmen, like the bad guy is talking and then gets distracted because the henchman is standing there and he's like, what's with your shirt? And the henchman, for no reason, is wearing a shirt that says the man pointing up to his head and the legend pointing down to his dick. And it's not quite
That's a
Transformers.
I hate those kind of people.
Yeah, it's a lighter version of, okay, for instance, this is a prime difference. Like, there's a part in this where during the car chase, they're like, watch out for the dogs! And then it goes into super slow motion, and these two dogs
peeing on a fire
No. The dogs are just jumping out of the way in slow motion, just going and jumping out of the way.
That's kinda cute.
Now, if it were Transformers 2, the dogs would be fucking, because that's exactly what happened in that movie. It was like 2 or 3 times in that film. It would cut to the dogs humping each other while an explosion were going on. This one, it's juvenile. But at least the dogs are kind of just jumping out of the way, and the frat boy humor's only kind of in it every now and then.
The audience isn't just, it's not a PG-13 audience, I guess. So.
Oh no, it is. Don't let the R rating fool you. This is still...
That's why Netflix. One of the things is like, someone I know that, I don't know why I'm still friends with them on Facebook, but I knew them, they were like one of my roommates, kind of. I mean, he's a grown man, but he was gross as hell.
Yeah.
And, like, was, like, peaked in high school kind of guy. And
then one day you married him.
No. No, but I don't know why I still follow him on Facebook, but...
Yeah, why do you? I'm kidding.
No, he was gross. I'm just doing it to be nice, because he asked to be friends, and I'm like...
You're doing it to taunt him.
No. Anyways.
Sorry.
He was like, I just saw... What's the movie called? 6 Feet...
Oh, Six Underground?
6 Underground. It was like 6 feet underground, or 6 under...
6 feet underground.
Is that what it's called?
6 Underground.
6 Underground.
Yeah.
Am I thinking of that HBO show, 6 Feet?
6 Feet Under.
Okay.
Yeah.
6 Underground. That movie was amazing. And I was like, okay, this movie's probably really shitty.
I think you would find this movie exhausting, because I did. Because after 20 or 30, and it feels long, it's like 2 hours and 10 minutes. And when it is... It's not everything bad about Michael Bay, because it doesn't have
it's not just his project, it's a bunch of other people, right? The people that did Deadpool and...
Well, they wrote it and he directed it, but there's usually other writers attached to the movies he's done in the past. But
it's not like his baby or anything.
I mean, he was a hardcore producer on this movie, so I don't know. But it's not that it's because it doesn't go the, like, you know, mom's on pot brownies again, like in the Transformers movies, or the the step and fetch it bots from Transformers 2 and things like that. I only
saw the first Transformers barely, so I'm not gonna get
it's not like it goes that, but it's not that it's everything bad in his lesser movies. It's just, it's a prototypical Michael Bay movie. It is every trope of Michael Bay movies, and just that. If anything you ever liked about a Michael Bay movie was only just explosions, this is the movie for you, because that's all it is.
Yeah, I get the feeling. Yeah,
if that's the only thing you liked about it. Because he does great action. Like, The Rock has great action in it. And it's also got a cool plot line. And you have Nick Cage and Sean Connery working off of each other and things like that. Even his best movies, if you watch, just simply saying stuff blows up real cool and bodies just blow up left and right, this is the movie for you. Because that is just what this movie is. It's almost like... it's just a peek inside his head, kind of. And this is just... It's like a scissor reel of just his different action set pieces lightly strung together in a movie. And it looks cool. It does. There's just not much of anything else in the movie. So I got halfway through this movie, like, I need a nap. I'm exhausted. And I almost took one.
Yeah, you woke up early today.
Yeah, I did. I didn't sleep very long last night, but I almost did take a nap, but it just kind of continued watching it. I've seen some reviews of it that are very entertained by the movie, and I can see why, certainly, because like I said, the man does action well. He knows how to shoot a scene. He knows how to just create mass carnage on film. And if you were to look at just individual set pieces in this movie, yeah, it looks cool. And, like, there is some funny, gross-out violence in the movie. There's just not enough of anything else for me, really. Especially in something that's starring Ryan Reynolds.
Right.
And written by the Deadpool guys. I mean, it's a movie that it does feel like a show. A really shallow show.
And yeah, I feel like other movies do it better, like Machete. Like, if there's, like, or like there's another one I'm thinking of, but I can't remember. But yeah, like, at least those kind of add a little bit of character, or, like, a story. There's some political themes in there.
Even other Michael Bay movies, whether we're talking about the Bad Boys movies, again, The Rock, even, like, his movies that I would put on the lesser end have more character to them than this movie does. Like Armageddon, which I would say is a far more obnoxious movie than this is, but it does technically have more character in it. What's even the last movie that he did? Oh, I think it was it that 13 Hours, that Benghazi movie?
Oh, me. Did he do that?
Yeah, he did that.
It might be.
And that was all right, I think. I don't think it was that bad.
I think it didn't get that great reviews. Maybe?
I
know that's where John Krasinski got ripped for.
He's really good in that, and it's done well. Like, I remember it's Michael Bay, so of course the action's done well in the movie. Remember Pearl Harbor? Did you go see Pearl Harbor?
I didn't see that. I think I saw a review of some Doug's, maybe.
Yeah, he did Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, and that doesn't look very good.
It's not the Pearl Harbor sequence is well done, but that was like the one time where it was like Michael Bay going, I'm going
to do Titanic.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I think that's what Doug said in the video.
It is. It's structured exactly like Titanic.
Yeah.
And that was like the one time Michael Bay was like, I'm going for an Oscar. But again, Pain and Gain is his masterpiece. Like, that is a legit great film.
I'll see if I like it.
You would really like Pain and Gain. You would like the Bad Boys movies. The Rock, you would love. Like, I mean, yeah, he gets a lot of hate thrown his way.
It's because Transformers
movies suck.
Those were like his biggest blockbusters, would you say? Or maybe that's why he got so much
he has a
hate.
lot of blockbusters.
Also, because a lot of man babies like Transformers. So, like, they're going to be, like, criticizing the hell out of any...
They are bad, though.
No, okay, I agree. I'm not saying, like...
Suck it up, bro. Like,
No, but, they're going to be the loudest people to criticize something that they grew up... I would be pissed if someone took something I liked.
Oh, totally.
But, like, I'm also, like... It's Transformers, man. Like, it's about cars that turn into robots.
There's not...
Okay, I'm gonna get so much hate
No. Like, there's... With the Transformers movies, that's one of those cases where you'll see a lot of properties that have a big fan base. Like that. Like Ninja Turtles, things like that. Like Star Wars.
What's the one with the girl that sings in the 80s?
Gem and the Holograms?
Yeah, like that one, but the girls were not as pissed, I feel like, about that. Like,
it's because nobody saw that movie.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't Transformers. Because it wasn't like a million...
It was like, yeah, there was... Well, I mean, I do know some Transformers fans that at least liked the first Michael Bay movie, which I didn't even like that one. I like the one from the 80s, but the 86 movie, but...
I guess I'm being a little hypocritical.
No. Like, the thing is like, yeah, there's like...
But there's also...
You see a lot of hate, certainly, from that base thrown towards those movies, but it's kind of a unanimous agreement.
Yeah,
like,
it is. But, like, it's same with, like, you know, the man-babies of Star Wars or something. It's like... this isn't what I pictured in my head. Kind of thing.
Sure, yeah.
But I'm not saying that they're not the same as the Transformers people.
Transformers, they do have a fan base because they still made money. They still made bank at the box office, so they still certainly had a fan base. Yeah. There's just certainly very vocal negative reactions towards them.
Yeah.
But outside of that, though, like, I do still kind of look forward to it whenever he has a movie coming out, because, like, at least on this, I really didn't care that much for this movie, like, at all, to be perfectly honest. But again, maybe he blew up some corpses in the freaking movie, man. It's just there's a whole action scene in the last act of this movie with magnets. Like, where Ryan Reynolds creates a giant magnet in a cruise ship that's causing, like, what looks like 100 henchmen to just fly all over the place and stick to the wall with some of them are in the kitchen and knives start flinging in their chests. Yeah. One guy is magnetized next to a grenade that blows up in his face. Like, so... Again, there's still some creativity in the carnage in this film. There just wasn't enough of anything else. You wouldn't like this movie, honey. I don't think. I'll show you the trailer upstairs.
Nah, I'm fine.
Are you sure?
I think I'll pass. I don't want to spend my 2 hours of...
No, the trailer's not 2 hours.
No, I'm not going to check it out.
It does seem like a 2-hour trailer. What do we got? 1917 tomorrow.
Yeah. I hope I don't get a lot of hate for the Transformers thing. But...
You'll be fine. If anything, it will be still people going on there saying, "Stop saying you're gonna get hate."
Oh yeah, right.
We got 1917 tomorrow and Star Wars. Speaking of Star Wars and cats, we got a few different things coming up.
Who are you doing with the Star Wars?
It's me, you, and Jared are going to it.
No, who's doing the video with you? Jared?
Me and Jared. I mean, you want to sit in on it with us?
I don't want to sit in the theater. I'm like laying in the back.
Just keep the term man baby down to a minimum.
Okay, I won't. Okay, I'm sorry.
Save it for when we talk about 1917.
You man babies.
Ugh, you World War I freaks.
It wasn't that bad.
World War I nerds.
Okay, I'm sorry. I shouldn't use that phrase. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
But... No, I'm not going to say that in the video.
Yeah, you got it all out of the way in this one.
What?
You got it all out of the way in this one.
Well, I'll just lay in the back or something, but I just want to see it because I don't want it to get spoiled, even though I feel like I know what's going to happen, but I just still want to see it. It's the end of a saga. So.
We'll have that one. Oh yeah, this will be the last one ever.
No, of this trilogy, you know what I mean?
Alright, well, we'll see you guys later. Check out our Karate Christmas Miracle episode that's up, the recent Cinema Snob episode, and we'll see you guys later.